Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Citi Prime News. The news is live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Lupina Dabraka Accra. I am Ajuatin Krama Domina. Coming up, social activist Oliver Baka-Vomao discharged by Appointments Committee of Parliament following apologies for comments suggesting that the committee members can be accused of bribery. Also coming up, Ghana's creditor committee members formally signed $2.8 billion debt relief for Ghana. Still in the bulletin, calls intensify for revetting of Greater Accra Regional Minister designate Linda Oklu following less than 10 minutes of vetting yesterday. We have details of these and more stories, but do know that the bulletin is live across the world on citinewsroom.com. Around the country, we are also live on a number of affiliate stations in the Upper West region: Tumpani Radio 88.5 in Nadoli, Jirapa 96.1 FM in Jirapa. In Upper East, Recast 92.1 FM in Bongo Namo. In the Northern region, North Star Radio 92.1 in Tamale. In the Northeast region, this is Nobia FM 98.1 in Nalerigo. In the Western region, you can find us on Beach 105.5 FM, Sky 93.5 FM, both in Takrady. In the Ashanti region, this is Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi, Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, we're on Sela Radio 97.1 FM in Dabala, Holy 98.5 FM in Aplao. In the Savannah region, tune in to Kasha 99.5 FM in Damongo, and in the Bunu region, this is Greener 95.9 FM. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
We're grateful for your company. This afternoon, we head to Parliament, and social activist Oliver Baka-Vomao has been discharged by the Appointment Committee after he apologized for comments accusing members of the Appointment Committee of bribery. Let's cross over to Parliament now and speak to my colleague Charles Owusukumi, who has been there for us today. Charles, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Adra. Thanks for having me.
Now, tell us what's happening in the House right now following the discharge of Oliver Baka-Vomao.
Well, you're right. Oliver has apologized and he has really discharged. The sitting has been adjourned. There will be no vetting today because the committee scheduled Oliver to appear today. I have here with me the Deputy Majority Leader and Member of Parliament for Citi South, the Honourable Ricky Hagen. I'll speak to him about what's just happened in Parliament. Honourable, thank you for joining us on Citi Prime News. Oliver has apologized, but it did take a while. There was a lot of back and forth before finally the apology came.
Yeah, hi. Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your listeners. We have just closed the session with Mr. Oliver Baka-Vomao, and he is still we're not in court, but he's been acquitted of the charge, if I can use that. We call him obviously for the from what we saw basically on various platforms, where we thought it borders around contempt of Parliament. So we needed to get him here to explain whether what we have seen is actually what he said. And we have just started this new Parliament. Committees are being formed, and we have not finished doing that. But this, or what he was alleged to have said, or what we saw, was something that was very serious with regards to the Appointment Committee, which is one of the early committees which we have managed to set up to be able to vet the President's nominees. So we needed to get him here to give us an explanation as to what that happened. He's coming, and we simply wanted, as I said, this matter should have actually been referred to the Privileges Committee. But as I said, a new Privileges Committee under the 9th Parliament has not yet been formed. So we just wanted to give him the initial opportunity to apologize, if indeed he was the author of those words. And then, if what comes out is otherwise, then we will take it to the plenary and then get the speaker to basically follow the procedure. So it took a while to get him round. Obviously, he came with his counsel, and I think he wanted to explain himself. I could see he wanted to apologize, but he also thought that he should get an opportunity to explain himself. So we did a bit of a merry-go-round.
He tried to give context to his post, and I realized the committee had set out to get him to apologize, and so he didn't really allow him to give the sort of context he wanted to give.
As I said, if we were in normal times, and by that I mean we just started the parliament, and the structures for the 9th parliament, including committees, are being put in place or are being fashioned out. So we just wanted to give him the opportunity, you are right, to apologize. Because ideally, the things that he wanted to say, but things that, if we had referred to the Privileges Committee, that's where he would have had the opportunity to do so. We are just the appointment committee to vet and basically recommend to the House as to the performance of the ministers or the ministerial nominees. We are not the Privileges Committee, even though the chairman of the appointment committee will also be, by constitution, will also be the chairman of the Privileges Committee. So appropriately, that's where we refer to.
But these allegations against committees of parliament, even the Public Accounts Committee have had their fair share of these allegations. Are they just mere propaganda against parliamentarians, or there could be some truth to it?
Well, I mean, this has been going on for some time, as you rightly said. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean we should condone it. It doesn't mean we should continue somewhere along the line. We will have to put a stop if we strongly believe that the allegations being put out there is not true, or are not true. But if that continues unchecked, then we are basically going down the road with our democracy. So I think that's what it is. It's not like they say to other committees, so it's okay. It should continue. Somewhere along the line, it must be stopped. And this is just the beginning of the 9th Parliament. And this is one of the earliest committees set up. So in order to ensure that things do not degenerate in the 9th Parliament, I think this is an important meeting, to have. And I think it is good that we've been able to get, the gentleman to apologize. That obviously sends a signal down the road that you cannot sit anywhere and utter any words and think that you can get away with it.
Thank you very much. All right, Adra, so you had the Honorable Ricky Hagan, Deputy Majority Leader, giving us some context to what happened earlier today.
Very well. Thank you so much. Charles Ozukumi is my colleague here at Citi FM. He was speaking with the Deputy Majority Leader and Member of Parliament for Cape Coast South, Kweku Ricketts Hagan. Well, Parliament, we understand, has also commenced sitting in the House. Our parliamentary correspondent, Nia Ikwe Okan, is on standby. Ikwe, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. What's currently happening in the House, and what do we expect for the lineup today?
Good afternoon, Adjoa. So, because of the invitation that was granted to Oliver Baka-Bomawo by the Appointments Committee to appear before it to substantiate his claim of bribery allegations against it, that delayed proceedings in the chamber today because the scheduled time was 10 a.m. However, certain just started with the second Deputy Speaker, Andrew Esiama Amwako, chairing proceedings for today. Now, as it stands now, the Member of Parliament for Lambusie, Professor Titus Bayo, is making a statement, and this is in relation to the health conditions in the House, precisely with regard to low birth syndrome, among other things related to the health sector. Afterwards, we are expecting that today, with the Appointments Committee not sitting to vet any ministerial nominees, members of Parliament would be able to appear in the chamber for the adoption and the laying of reports of the Appointments Committee. Yesterday, some of these reports were laid, and this has to do with the vetting of ministers designate, particularly the minister designate for lands and natural resources, Emmanuel Amakofibua, who was vetted on Monday, Mr. T.I. Ibrahim, who is the minister designate for the Northeast region, Dr. Frank Amwakohene, the minister designate for the Ashanti region, and Akambugri Akanga Donatus, who is the minister designate for the Upper East region. These ministers who have been vetted are expected to have their reports presented to the House by the Appointments Committee, debated on, and then subsequently adopted by the House, which will see their approval. And then we would also expect that those who were vetted on Tuesday, that was yesterday, would also have their reports laid in the House, debated upon, and subsequently adopted by the House, which will see their approval, and then subsequently the President, John Dramani Mahama, could proceed to swear them in. Ajua.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That's Nia Ikweoka. He's our parliamentary correspondent. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News. Still ahead, West African Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO, begins preparatory works for 28-day shutdown for maintenance works. We bring you details of this and other stories shortly. Please stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Yeah, welcome back to the bulletin. Let's bring you some more stories. And now the Chamber for Local Governance, CHALOG, has criticized Parliament Appointments Committee over the brief vetting of the Greater Accra Regional Minister Designate. Linda Oklu's session, which lasted less than 10 minutes, has been described as the shortest since the committee began its work. On speaking to Citi News, CHALOG President Dr. Richard Fiadomo said the committee is doing a disservice to the nation, particularly residents of the Greater Accra region.
Rightfully, like any right-thinking Ghanaian, we are also very disappointed in the fact that the seat of government, Greater Accra, who have their regional minister come before Parliament, not even a single question will be asked. We are disappointed in the vetting committee to the extent that they should have known the myriad of issues that confront the Greater Accra region when Parliament itself is in Greater Accra. Many of the MPs live here in Greater Accra. They only go to their constituencies when Parliament is not in session. We all know there are issues about security. There are issues about sanitation. There are issues that are pressing that we need the regional minister to at least give us an overview of her understanding of the issues that are confronting the region and how she will navigate or surmount some of these problems. So it is for us a very low blow to have a situation whereby today we are talking about record. Is that the essence of vetting? The essence of vetting is to grill the person, question the person, get into the minds of the person to know whether he or she is actually fit for purpose.
He had the president of the Chamber of Local Governance, Dr. Richard Fiadomo. Meanwhile, some residents of the Greater Accra region have also been reacting to the vetting of the original minister designate.
Well, I personally feel that she should have gone through the vetting just like all the designates, all the minister designates and the regional ministers designates had gone through. Accra is one of the filthiest towns. So for a minister designate to be in and not get any form of question or way around addressing some of this field, I think she should be called back.
The appointment committee, I do not know why they decided not to ask her any question, but perhaps they have done their background checks and then they felt she has done her homework well and she's the best person to lead the region. So they know better, so I leave everything to the appointment committee.
Maybe she's special. Maybe she's special. So all of us don't understand why she was not vetted. So maybe she's special. That's what I can say.
I think she should have duly gone through the vetting process by being asked questions, simply because Accra is the capital city of the nation. And then anybody who is minister of this particular region should have much to present on the table.
You heard some residents of the Greater Accra region reacting to the vetting of the regional minister designate. We move on to some other stories now. Ghana has formally secured $2.8 billion in debt relief after all 25 members of its creditor committee signed a memorandum of understanding. The agreement, initially reached in principle under the G20 Common Framework for Debt Treatment, is expected to provide fiscal relief as Ghana advances structural reforms under its $3 billion International Monetary Fund IMF program. Now, addressing the media, Finance Minister Dr. Kesiel Atoforsi noted that discussions on the remaining 7% of the agreement are ongoing, with the government committed to concluding the process soon.
The signing of this agreement constitutes an important milestone in Ghana's debt restructuring journey. Ghana is now entering the final stage of the restructuring process. We now have a strong and detailed framework to implement the financial terms through bilateral agreement with the official creditors. We also hope to make further progress with our commercial creditors in the coming weeks to reach a mutual beneficiary solution for the debt treatment. In these discussions, we will be guided by the most favored creditors clause and in the principles of comparability of treatment, offering a precise framing of the terms that creditors may receive. As Minister, I will expedite our engagement in order to complete the remaining 7% of the debt restructuring. We take this opportunity to appreciate the efforts and support so far by the external commercial creditors and urge them to support us to complete this process as soon as possible.
You heard the Minister for Finance, Dr. Kesiel Atoforsi. Now, the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, has begun a nationwide visit to universities to rebuild its base following the heavy defeat in the 2024 elections. The tour, named Rebuilding Our Base, aims to garner support from grassroots members in universities and reconnect the party with students. The rebuilding effort is being led by the party's General Secretary, Justin Kodua-Frimpong. Now, Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed, spoke to Citi News about this initiative.
After the loss of these particular elections and the NPP proceeding through National Council to ask a committee to go through and find out what we lost, the National Secretariat of the New Patriotic Party, led by the National Chairman and the CEO of the party, which is Lawyer Justin Kodua-Frimpong, decided to visit these institutions for the reason being that we are having first-year students that are being admitted and reporting to school. The loss of 2024 has put everybody back. There is that need to visit these institutions and get TESCON back on its feet to be able to welcome freshers and to register new members so that there will be fresh blood within the spirit of the New Patriotic Party. Many discussions have gone on. We gave them the opportunity to speak. We have also met with leaders as in XRC who are affiliated to the New Patriotic Party. So this is something that we have started.
He had the Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Haruna Mohammed. Now, the West African gas pipeline, WAPCO, has begun preparatory works for its mandatory maintenance shutdown, which is scheduled to last for 28 days. Now, this move is in accordance with the regulations set by the West African Gas Pipeline Authority. In a statement issued on January 23, WAPCO assured all relevant stakeholders that it had provided advance notice of this shutdown. Engineer Benoni Owusuaye, the Operations and Maintenance Manager for WAPCO West at the Takoradi Regulatory and Metering Station at the Abuazi Thermal Plant, confirmed that WAPCO is confident that it will complete the maintenance within the expected 28-day period. Now, the Institute of Community Sustainability is appealing to the government to maintain the betting task and use the revenue to establish rehabilitation centres. This comes after the Finance Minister, Dr. Kesiel Atoforsi, pledged to abolish the betting tax and the e-levy in his first budget pending approval. In an interview with Citi News, Executive Director of the Institute, Eric Jerry Adu, expressed concerns over Ghana's limited rehabilitation centres, particularly for addressing betting and gambling addictions.
Yes, already we have done a lot of our own research nationwide. Then we know it's so sad that a country like Ghana with 32 million population, we have only 3 private public psychiatric hospitals. That's Pantine, Ankafo, and Accra Psychiatric Hospital. And you know, betting is very addiction. When you go to Europe, that's the majority of those betting companies are coming from. They have rehabilitation centers for all those places. So why Ghana here? And when the people become unaddicted, how are they going to manage those situations? So when we are going to abolish the betting tax, we are rather going to encourage them to bet more. You see, so those issues, either you increase it to 50% to deter the youth from betting, or you maintain a 10% and use to establish a lot of rehabilitation centers. Because now, every day, the youth are betting, gambling, especially when it's morning time, when you go through the Nungwa, it's around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. You see the youth there doing those kind of betting. So we have to prepare for them. We don't have to wait when the issue get out of hand, now that you are looking for emergency situation and stuff. No. So the government shouldn't abolish it. And when he tries to abolish it, we hit on the street to demonstrate against it.
Executive Director of the Institute of Community Sustainability, Eric Jerry Eju. Now, kidney specialists and surgeons in the Ashanti region have achieved a significant medical milestone by successfully performing the first ever kidney transplant in the region. The surgery, which took place at the Kidney Specialist Center in collaboration with the Hope Exchange Medical Center in Kumasi, has provided new hope for patients struggling with kidney diseases. The historic transplant saved the life of a middle-aged man in his mid-40s who had been battling kidney disease for the past 5 years. Dr. Elliot Kranting-Tano, a consultant nephrologist and lead specialist for the surgery, shared the cost of the initial transplant, which was approximately $25,000. However, future procedures are expected to range between $30,000 to $35,000. Dr. Tano encouraged kidney patients to stay hopeful and assure them that he and his team are dedicated to performing more transplants to improve lives.
The way it works is that you have to see a patient, get a donor, work them up, and ensure that they are ready for the surgery. So that is what the Kidney Specialist Center actually did. So we put together all the patients, and the patients were getting their dialysis also done by the Kidney Specialist Center. So, but unfortunately, we don't have a theater. So when we needed a surgery, we did at Hope Exchange. The Catholic Hospital, the Hope Exchange Catholic Hospital, that's fantastic. So that is where the surgery was. We are hoping, yes, that is cooking concepts and able to prove it, because every part of the team is actually very keen. The hospital is also very keen in terms of the surgeon, the urologist, everybody is keen. So I'm actually currently working my next set of patients. And we are hoping that by the end of the first quarter, we should also hopefully have the second batch also going. So it's something that we are hoping to continue, and it's something that has come to stay here in Kumasi. Yeah.
You heard Dr. Elliot Kranting-Tano. He's a consultant nephrologist and lead specialist for the surgery. We move on now. The National Association of Concerned Small-Scale Miners is calling for a probe into the use of over $200 million allocated between 2017 and 2024 to combat illegal mining. The government reportedly received funding from the World Bank and other international bodies to support the fight against illegal mining. However, concerns have been raised about the misuse of funds for procuring pickups, drones and GPS tracking devices, among others. Speaking to Citi News, the association's president, Michael Kweju-Pepra, urged the government to set up an independent committee to audit the expenditure and hold those responsible for any financial mismanagement accountable.
Government since 2017 has had over $200 million fight this canker that this country has been faced with. And this money were being mismanaged. As a matter of fact, over 50 pickups were purchased for the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Miners. And as we speak now, these pickups cannot be found. We purchased about $2 million worth of drones. As I speak to you now, these drones cannot be found. And we realize that the fight against illegal mining, a lot of people have made fortune out of it. And we cannot say for a fact that the fight against illegal mining was a success. But what we can say is that through this fight, a lot of people have made fortune out of it. So we are calling for government to initiate a committee to probe on the amount of money being spent and how the expenses went on. And if anybody is being found culpable, these people should be dealt by it.
You heard the president of the National Association of Concerned Small-Scale Miners, Michael Kwejo-Pepra, and that does it for today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studio in Adabraka, Accra. For more news, please log on to citinewsroom.com. I am Ajua Tinkramadum, and many thanks for your company.
Citi News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, Citi 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at Citi 973.